Hello and welcome to Gone on Holiday, the Football Manager YouTube channel that is ran by you, the community. Today, brand new series starting, super excited, and that series is what would happen if Rangers and Celtic were in the Premier League. So Rangers and Celtic in the Prem, it's, everyone's had that question posed to them, how would they do? And this series is going to ultimately show you how they're going to do. And this way, if you're ever asked, you've got a good answer. We've done the research for you. So how this is going to work? We've put Celtic and Rangers in the Premier League, as you can see here. We've got Rangers and Celtic who are supposed to finish first and second according to the media. I think that might be a bit of a glitch there. Yep. As you can see, probably more likely that Man City and Liverpool are going to finish first and second, but who knows? That's why we're doing this simulator anyway. If you want to get involved in the channel, please comment down below which scenarios you'd like to see, and maybe we'll make a video about it. So let's get started. I'm going to start unemployed, and how this works is we just sim it through, stop a couple of times mid-season, see how both teams are getting on, see what's happened, and go back on holiday. So the game's up and running. I can see straight off the bat, here's my goofy little avatar, sorry about that, that Celtic don't have a manager at the moment. So I was going to simulate straight through to see the result of the first Old Firm derby in November. That would give us a good chance to see how the guys are getting on, whether or not they've qualified for any of the European competitions that they're in. I think Celtic are in the Champions League and Rangers are in the Europa League in this first season. So yeah, we'll go through to November, check out the Old Firm, but in the meantime, I'll fast forward a week just to see who Celtic get in charge for this season, because that will be an interesting development. And I assume it's Mr. Gerrard. Yeah, he's in charge of Rangers. So let's see who's going to lead them both to glory. So I actually got asked to take the Celtic job, which I politely declined because that's not what this save is actually about. You will see that it's Eddie Howe actually who's taken the hot seat in from Bournemouth. I don't think he actually left Bournemouth, did he? Johnny Woodgate. No, he was here before the game save started. So, yep, Eddie Howe versus Steven Gerrard. Let's skip ahead to November and go on holiday. So we've arrived in November. Let's have a little look to see what's going on. Wow, not a great start for Rangers and Celtic just about hovering over the drop zone. So Rangers actually bottom of the league. Quite surprising. First and foremost, the Old Firm was at Celtic. 3-1 win for Celtic in that one. Perhaps going to give them the upper hand for the rest of the season. Let's see what's been going wrong then. So Rangers did make it through to that Europa group stage. Got a tough group by the looks of things, and a tough little run in the Prem as well. So maybe they'll have time to turn it around. They did somehow beat Man City in the Carabao Cup. Let's see if City played a weakened team. You would probably think so. There you go. I'll eat my words. Slightly weakened, but hey, fair play Rangers. Perhaps they'll go on a bit of a cup run this season. But yeah, they do need to dig themselves out of that a bit of a hole that they're in. And let's have a look at Celtic. They also made it through and have made it into the group stage of the Champions League. Shakhtar, Marseille and Sevilla. So pretty difficult group, and yeah, not a great start. 1 point from the first 3 games. And again, bit of a tricky start to probably an easier start to Rangers. So it'll be interesting to see how these two teams turn it around, if they can turn it around. Let's just have a look, see who's performing. I do sort it by goals. You'll see. I like to see who's banging them in. This guy's 7 goals in 16 games, but he's not actually at the club, so not helpful at all. And same with Bio as well, who's at Toulouse. It's a old MK Dons player, Reece Healy. Nice to see he's banging him in. Not bitter at all. And yes, I am an MK Dons fan for all my sins. So let's go on holiday until I'm thinking perhaps the end of the January transfer window. That way we can see what activity there's been, and it just gives us a good old hefty chunk of games to get through and sets us in for the running for the end of the season. Okay, so we're here in February. I did see a bit of a spoiler, I must admit, because it flashes up whilst I'm waiting for it to process. Let's jump straight into the league, and yeah, things aren't looking great for the two Scottish teams, and the spoiler I was referring to was that Mr. Gerrard was actually sacked. He made it until 19th of December. Gary McAllister took over, and then Luciano Spalletti is now taking over the old Inter manager. Let's see if he can steer things around. And Celtic, yeah, not great reading. I didn't see anything about... Well, there you go. So Eddie Howe lasted a little bit longer than Steven Gerrard, but hey, Michael O'Neill has taken the hot seat. So old Stoke and Northern Ireland manager. Yeah, I've done a few test runs before of this database, and it's the first time I've seen Eddie Howe sacked. And it's actually the first time that both Scottish teams have actually been in the drop zone. So it'll be interesting to see if they can make it out of there. Let's have a look to see if they've fared any better in their cups. We've got no wins at all in the Champions League for Celtic, so they are dumped out, not even made it through to the Europa League. FA Cup third round, dumped out of there, and where are they in the Carabao? Again, third round knockout there. So I mean, they've only got the Prem to play for, they've only got survival to play for, so it's in Celtic's hands really. And again, their two top goal scorers are actually away on loan. Again, Edouard, 8 goals in 27 games, not great. Average ratings, as you'd probably expect, their goalkeeper, their top performer. So I think that says it all really for a club that's in 19th. Let's see if Rangers are faring any better. So they made it through, like we said, against Man City, and then they absolutely demolished Exeter. FA Cup 4th round win against Arsenal as well. So they got to the Carabao Cup semi-final. Disappointing end result, but pretty good job of getting there in their first season in England. And they are in the FA Cup 5th round, and you would like to think a favourable tie against Championship Brentford. So we will jump back in a little bit closer to the run-in, maybe jump in after the old firm, second old firm, this time at Rangers, and see if any of the teams have turned it around. While this is processing, I have actually just noticed that the light behind me is blue, and I'm also wearing blue. I don't have any favouritisms between the two Scottish teams, but what I think should happen in this series is that depending on who finishes above the other, or arguably who has the better season, the light, which also goes green, should be blue for Rangers or green for Celtic. Rangers can have it this first time just because I thought it looked cool, and then we'll see what happens in the rest of this save. Okay, it's the day after Derby Day. We'll go and check out that result. My inbox is starting to look like my work inbox here. That's just, we'll ignore that, much like my work inbox. No movement for the two Scottish teams. Let's check out the Derby Day result before we delve into any more. Yeah, I clocked it. I'm not sure if you guys did the Morelos red card, so at least we know it's super realistic. And a 1-1 draw, which again I don't think either side would have particularly wanted. Too high XGs as well, so it suggests it was a pretty good game. Celtic 18th. A lot of red. There's a lot of red. 2-0 defeat against Manchester United, followed by a 2-1 win against Everton, and obviously the draw against Rangers. So maybe in a position to start to turn the corner a little bit there. They did beat bottom of the league 1-0 as well. And Rangers, I mean, both of the teams, you know, they're only 1-2 points from safety. They're not out of it. They're not. Let's see what's been going on here. And again, 4-0 drubbing against City, 3-0 against Liverpool. I mean, are these kind of results expected? Probably. They're beating teams like Southampton 1-0, Leicester 2-1. I mean, I didn't think they were going to set the world alight here, but I do want both teams to stay up here just so we get a good old taster of, you know, what they can do in the Prem. But we'll sim it through. We'll go on holiday until the end of the season, and that was obviously the last Old Firm. And don't forget, if you've got any suggestions for any new series or any scenarios you'd like to see, drop them in the comments. Let's go on holiday. We've made it to the end of the season. Inbox, ignore that. And Liverpool were the overall champions, and that's not what we like to see. I guess unless you're a Celtic fan. Ultimate bragging rights just from looking at the league table, and that is by the skin of their teeth. Celtic have pulled it off. Rangers, you know, 7 wins in the season. I mean, it's enough for Celtic. It was the draws that pulled them out. But yeah, you know, it's sad to split the teams up in this scenario save, but they're gonna be you know, one of the favourites for going up next season at the very least. Let's check the run in if there was anything else they could have done. I mean, since the Celtic game, they ultimately got knocked out of the FA Cup, which it's a good little cup run, that, but the form after that, Chelsea, West Ham, Brighton, Burnley, no wins in April and only beaten bottom of the league. You know, there's a couple of beatable teams in there, you'd like to think, and the fate was ultimately sealed in the last game of the season at home as well. And yeah, they even went 1-0 up in that game, so bit of a hard pill to swallow for Rangers fans. But on the flip side of that, Celtic will be, you know, happy to stay in, I guess. You know, they can then rebuild. Perhaps a bit of money for staying in the Prem, which maybe they didn't have last season. I'm not sure what the finance differences are between, you know, finishing top of the Scottish Prem and finishing towards the bottom end of the English Prem. So, but, you know, much like Rangers, there were some winnable games in there. They didn't win them, but, you know, the Villa result and a couple of draws here on the last day of the season, again, drawing against Liverpool, who, as we said, were the champions. Yeah, McGregor, the hero. So that does mean that the light goes green from this point on. There we go, our welcome sight for any Celtic fans. And what I should also mention is that in order to accommodate Celtic and Rangers in the Prem, there were 2 teams that had to leave, unfortunately, and it might be worthwhile just checking out how they did from year to year. And yet you can see that Fulham and West Brom were the 2 teams that did miss out, and finished first and second, and by quite some way as well. terms of any cups, you can see that Fulham did also pick up the Scottish Cup, again beating West Brom and Betfred, and yeah, West Brom got a little bit of redemption back in that cup competition. Let's see if they went all the way to win that one, and yeah, they did. 2-0 win over Livingston. So ex-Prem teams doing the business over in Scotland, and on the flip side of that, the Scottish teams, you know, if both of them had stayed up, would it have been a good result for them? I don't know, but Rangers are going to be playing Championship football next season, and Celtic are going to be able to build on staying in the Premiership. So we'll have a quick little look at the two teams before we sign off for the episode. You can see Morelos, only player to get double digits for the season, probably expected from a team that's going down. He is wanted by Bournemouth and Newcastle, so it'll be interesting to see if they can hold on to him and their better players, essentially, and see if they can rebuild and try and get back into the Prem and back to where Celtic are, essentially. But yeah, as you can see, there's a couple of their players who are attracting attention. And the Celtic team, again, two top goal scorers not at the club, Edouard and Elianusi, the only two players to get those double figures. Everyone else kind of just chipping in here and there. Again, I mean, they're not susceptible to... Yeah, there we go. They're not susceptible to losing players, as you can see. Transfer listed for £37 million. So, you know, even if they could sell arguably their best player, 37 mil is nothing to sniff at. So it would be interesting to see what these two teams do in terms of signings next season. Speaking of signings, we didn't go into much detail for the January transfer window because, in all honesty, not much happened. Celtic signed Rodak from Fulham for 1.2 mil, shipped out a couple of players, bit part players, and Rangers, again, not much to write home about. A loan from Manchester United. They did sell Jermaine Defoe, but I don't think he was actually getting a game in the Prem. So 3 appearances and no goals. So not the fairy tale sign off for Jermaine Defoe. And we'll see if both managers actually made it through to the end of the season. Yep, so despite going down, Spalletti's still in the job. We'll obviously see if that continues in the next episode. And on the Celtic side, yeah, Michael O'Neill is still here. So I guess when he took over, they're in the relegation zone. So it's pretty much job well done as far as Celtic are concerned. And we'll see if they stick with those 2 appointments. You know, it was a shame that neither manager could get all the way through the season, but such is modern day football management. And you can see here, again, a testament to that is just all of the current management jobs that are available at the end of the first season, which is funny because whenever I play this game, there's never any jobs like that available, so it's nice to know whilst I'm simming through. Just check a few things for you guys before we switch off and move on to the next episode. Martial finished top goal scorer. Chris Wood got 19 goals for Burnley. You know, each to their own. Absolute goal machine apparently. Harry Kane finishing with the highest average rating, almost an 8. Assists Bruno Fernandes, De Bruyne, Silva, your usuals. And Son Heung-min was the most players of the match award. So that's it for this episode. How long will the light be staying green? Tune in to find out. If you did like what you see on this video, please do like and subscribe. And like we said before, drop a comment down and we'll see if we can get your scenario played out on here and we'll make a video out of it. Thanks for tuning in and see you in the next episode.